But again, good morning, church, and just so pleased to have this opportunity to be before you. You know, it's not an easy task, but it's one that I signed up for. And so when it's time to step up and speak up, then that's what I'm going to do. But I also know when to shut up. And the Lord has placed on my heart today to speak to you on the topic of trust. And not just trust, but trust in the process. Trust in the process. Not that you're in the process of trusting, but there's a process that goes to everything that we experience. And so I want to give you what God has given to me. So trust in the process. So I want to give you a couple of definitions before I start, and that first one being trust. What is trust? I wrote down just a few of the definitions that were given. A firm reliance in the honesty, dependability, strength, or character of someone or something. One in which faith or confidence is placed. Something given into one's care for the benefit of or interest of another. Hope, to assume or expect, to believe, in trust. These are all things that trust is, and many of us take trust rather lightly. You know, you think you can trust many folks, but the truth is you can't trust but just a few. Just a few. I'm talking about really trusting. Process. Let's look at that. Process, a series of actions or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end. So let's put them together. I believe when God made this world, he began with the end in mind, with the you and me in mind. So then let's look, so this is going to be, one of those sermons that came from Brother Briscoe. You can talk about it when you leave. To speak of God, and I won't say that, I said with God in his mind. I don't want to bring God down to our level, because God's thoughts are not our thoughts. His ways are not our ways. And for me to act like I know his thoughts or even talk about his thoughts could be a disservice to him. But let's look at the book of Genesis, or the beginnings. So, in the beginning, God made everything that is. And I'm not necessarily reading. I'm not reading. I'm just referencing. But thank you for standing. But you can sit. Thank you. I'm not reading. I'm just referencing right now. Thank you. Though, I appreciate it. You got me when you stood up there for a moment. See, and I know that wasn't in my notes. All right. But that just shows the reverence that you have for the word. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Lord, Lord, Lord. And God is pleased with that. He's pleased with that. Hey, you put another feather in your cap by honoring God just at the mention of his word. Man, y'all gonna get me all sidetracked here today. So in the beginning, God, not man, created heaven and earth. And God is a God of order. So how many of you wake up in the morning and you worried about the sun not being in place? How many of you go to bed at night and worry about the moon, stars not being in place? How many of you walk on the earth, on the ground, and you worry about a hole opening up and you falling in? Yeah, we don't. God is a God of order. He created everything he created, and we don't have to worry about it. Now, and God's been, and if there was a test that somebody had to take, so God, he's been tested and tried over and over and over, morning and day after day, and year after year, and century after century. And some folks have the nerve not to trust God. Man, I'm telling you. Oh, and whenever you see me act the way I do, I mean, he just takes over me. He just fills me up. So trust. I want to just make some references to things that we should not trust in, and then who we should trust in. And while we're doing our trusting, that we remember the process. So some of the things that we shouldn't trust in. You should not put your trust in things, in riches. Your money will come to an end. You may not think it will, but you think you got the investments and all that, and it's going to last. But you probably got some folks that are investing your money investing your money in their pocket, because they say, oh, he won't miss a few dollars. And in reality, we don't, because that's, we're not, so caught up in things, especially us in here. We're not so caught up that we're gonna miss a few dollars. So you probably won't miss it until it's about gone. You're like, hey, what happened? So don't put your money in wealth and riches, and don't put your trust in wealth and riches. Don't put your trust in idols. Idol worship, we don't necessarily, I won't say we, but again, if you're worshiping your stuff, you're worshiping idols. You just have to be careful where your focus is. Who's number one on your list? Yeah, I was thinking, and I'm probably ahead of myself and beside and everything. But I said, when we think of ourselves, we should probably put ourselves forth on the list. Even when you just think about yourself, you're not number one in your life. You shouldn't be. You number four. The Father, Son, the Holy Spirit. That's one, two, and three. So you number four. If you go around thinking you number one in your life, you already on the wrong track. I'm telling you. Hey, be careful about where you put your trust. They say don't put your trust in others. Hey, you better learn to look out for yourself. Yeah, look out for yourself. And I try to tell folks, if you see some of your friends doing wrong, this is not necessarily for grown folks, but it applies to you too if you have issue with not being able to stand on your own 2 feet. But young people, you out with some folks and you see that they doing wrong, that's time for you to say, you know what, I got somewhere to go. Man, you know what, I got something to do. Hey, it's that simple. Now again, maybe they put pressure on you. They say, man, you ain't going nowhere. Hey, you done seen us do it. You better find a way. And so if that's a habit, then you need to change your habits. That's all. There is a way out if you want out. Okay, don't put your trust in your own thoughts sometime. I won't say all the time. You could be thinking real sane like, and hey, doing a good thing. Like saying, I got to go. And so then, hey, you're doing good. But, well, I'm going to sum this up here in just a moment. Vanity. I saw that and I said, vanity. You said looking at ourselves more highly than we ought. Prideful. Be careful trusting even that. And I don't have anything against the ladies with the big eyelashes and everything, but that's something that I've had to get used to later in my life, When I was a young man coming along, hey, the ladies didn't, they didn't, I don't, that's a new thing, it's a new thing. And so it's kind of scary. I'm like, man, what's all that, All right. Hey, and so some of you say that's why he's single. That's why he's single. Well, all right. Be careful, though, with your vanity, your pride. And for me, be careful of some of these thoughts I have. Okay. It said, be careful of wickedness. Now, I looked up definition and stuff, said evil or morally wrong, has mental disregard for justice, righteousness, and truth, honor, virtue. That's mental disregard for all those things, justice, righteousness, honor, virtue. And then it says evil in thought and life, depravity. Brother Jones uses that a lot. Sinfulness, and then criminality. On my phone, I look at the YouTube stuff a bit, and I'm telling you, I am so sick of seeing people that look like me doing all the nastiness and stuff they do. I'm talking about this one kid, he's 15 years old. And he told the police after they caught him, but this woman was at the gas station getting in her car, 75 years old. And he told the police, I looked at her, she was old, and I knew I could take that car. You know what I'm saying? And he was supposed to have an ankle bracelet on then. but he cut it off. So what I'm saying is that he was just trying the system. And when you try God's system, when you try the process, you look at the process is that you learn from your mistakes. But no, he won't do it over and over. And I'm telling you, do not put your trust in wickedness. Now, again, you may get by for a while, and unfortunately, we all were young once. Now, I'm speaking to the older folks now. We were young once, and we had thoughts, and again, we had friends that did things, and it looked cute. And so we said, hey, I'm going to try that too. Until we got home, and our mom and daddy didn't play that. Yeah. And then when it was time to do it again, we said, man, I can't go. I pass, man. Because we already wanted to put our trust where it needed to be. We saw the process working. But now some people just don't see the process working. So things not to put your trust in. And what I did, I've got several scriptures listed with that. If you want a few, I can give them to you. And then, what about trusting? Now, so in the beginning, God created everything. And it's still every day, day in, day out, year in, year out, century in, century out, millennium in, millennium still works. So let me give you a few verses. 2 Samuel 22 and 31 reads, as for God, his way is perfect. The words of the Lord is tried. You hear what I said? The word of the Lord is tried. It's been tried over and over and over. He is a buckler to all them that trust in him. I looked up buckler because I didn't want to be up here and one of y'all raise your hand and say, what's that mean, Pastor? Preacher. He's a shield. He's a shield. He's going to protect us. And you carry your shield with you all the time. Know that you have it. You may not physically have your shield, but you better know you protect it. Now, you got to do right now. Again, you can't be out there acting a fool and just doing everything you're big enough to do and think he's going to protect you. And even if he allows you to suffer, that 75-year-old woman, I'm sure, hey, if she got God in her life, she may have fallen on the concrete, but she fell into his arms. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's going to be all right. Yeah, don't you ever think you trust in God and you doing the right thing is going to hurt you. You say, man, I've already seen. Hey, I'm going to get me a gun. And I'm not going to call any of you folks out. No, I'm not. And I'm not going to publicly say I don't have one now. But I know where my help comes from. Listen, Reverend Gay used to say, hey, your arm's too short to box with God. Yeah, your little gun ain't got but so many bullets, and you're going to run out. And then that's why some of these kids you see on YouTube, they got clips and all that, shoots 100 times. Hey, but they still run out. And so you think that this gun makes you somebody. But what makes you somebody is that you know God and you know the process. Yeah. Psalms 37:3 says, trust in the Lord and do good, and so shalt. Yeah, it's a shame. I knew that was going to happen with my handwriting. Okay, but the last it ends up with, and verily thou shalt be fed. And so that's saying that, again, you don't have to ever worry about going hungry. And again, so that was Psalm 37:3. So, if you know what my eyes ain't always all that good. But you don't have to worry about stuff. And I'm talking about necessary stuff, food and shelter and clothing and all that. He'll take care of you. Psalms 56:4 says, in God I will praise his word. In God I will have put my trust. I will not fear what flesh can do to me. Another point that I did not bring up earlier, but when God made Adam and Eve, placed them in the garden, and then the serpent showed up. And Adam found out, or he said, he said, I can't trust Eve. Ain't that something? All that time they was together, and then he said, I can't trust her because of what, this woman you gave me. But then both of them found out they couldn't trust the serpent. So trust is just something that just, man, that's that thing came into the world with man, and it's multiplied and divided, and it continues on that man. See, I can look at each of you, but I don't know what you're thinking. I don't know what you're capable of. And so, and would you believe that the world does not trust you? The world does not trust you. Now, how do I know? They got cameras up on all over the place. They don't trust you. It ain't that they like you or they trying to catch the bad folk. They just don't trust you. Police officers, they got camera on there. We need to have one on them looking at the police. Huh? Doorbell ringers, you can look and see who's at your door. Hey, these are all signs, folks, that we just do not trust one another. That trust is something else, man. Yeah. Hey, I don't open my door. I keep the little storm door locked. Open the door and, hey, I love you, but that trust is something, and again, I'm not telling you not to trust, folks. I'm telling you, this is what I'm telling you. This is the bottom line. This is the bottom line. I can really put everything up. This is the bottom line. Put God first in all that you do. Put God first in all your friendships, relationships, folks that you don't know. Everything you do, if you put God first. Here, this last verse I want to read to you. This last verse, it says, and it's Psalms 57:1. It said, be merciful unto me, O God. Be merciful unto me, for my soul trusteth in thee. Yea, in the shadow In the shadow of thy wings will I make my refuge. You know what I'm saying? You just, even in the shadow of God's refuge, you covered. Make your way there. And it says, until these calamities be overpassed. So if you find yourself in a tough spot, you make your way to the shadow of his wings. Just the shadow. And you're going to be all right. Now, will we die someday? Yes. So some of us are so busy trying to escape death that we forget to trust God with our life. You know, hey, you just have a few days here, a few years here. Don't spend them paranoid, acting all weird, not trusting the God who brings the sunshine and the moonlight and the God that cannot fail. He will not fail. Try him. Try him. Yeah. 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 What I want to close with is just a little something. On last Thursday, life was just moving right along for me, and I had a doctor's appointment, and so I got a new doctor, because see, I had some problems with the old one. I ain't trust him. Hey, what I look like not trusting the doctor, but yeah, I had some problems with him, and so I ain't trust him anymore. And so I went to a new doctor. Sometimes you go to a new doctor looking for a new message. Hey, but I got to the doctor. And let me tell you this too. I haven't been back at work since. Yeah. Doctor gave me some news. He said, he took some blood, did tests. He come back in the room, eyes this big, he was like, boy, whew, you got to do something about that blood sugar. He said, man, you in trouble. And he showed me the numbers, and I agreed. And I told him, and I'm going to tell you, I didn't take this condition that he told me about. I didn't take it seriously. I've been living with it for a while, taking little oral medications, and sometimes I miss, I might take the morning dose and miss the afternoon dose, and miss the morning and afternoon dose, and then miss some other doses, and, hey, because I was looking in the mirror. I thought I was number one. I didn't know where I was number 4. I said, I'm number 1. I'm good. But, again, I haven't been back to work, and that was last Thursday at lunchtime. So I had to call the job, and I said, hey, I won't be in. I won't be back this afternoon. And I won't be back Friday. I won't be back next week. And then I went over there and took off the next 2 weeks because I need to get well. Yeah, he's got my attention now. Now, go back to that doctor I didn't trust. Now, he didn't, hey, I was ready to move anyway. I was looking for some other things in my life. And, but it's not always what who tells you. I mean, the truth is the truth. And so I've been eating breakfast now. I never eaten breakfast for in about, I don't know when. I'm eating breakfast. I'm eating good. I'm eating better, rather. And I used to go and have these sandwiches and big sandwiches, and eat it all too, Now, eating one piece of toast one piece of toast and a deviled egg, a boiled egg, excuse me, not that, boiled egg for breakfast, and it's filling me up. Yeah, yeah. So now I said that to say that my trust is in God, is in God, is in the Lord above. Now, this God that we trust, again, he's not an absentee landlord either. You know, one day, he decided to come visit us. See, and it didn't come. You know, I don't know that we could have stood to look at him, but he came as a baby. Came as a baby. And again, the doors of the church open. Doors of the church open. But he came as a baby. And he lived in this world for 33 and a half years. And the world, they said, we can't trust him. I mean, as he grew, you know, he had all these nice things he was talking about, and he was just, but they said, we can't trust him. How can he know all that when he's just a little boy, you know? At 12, he's going off somewhere lost and listening and discussing things with grown folks. That's because, see, he made the world. He hung the stars. And by and by, this little baby, this landlord came to check on his renters. And folk had enough of them. They said, that's enough. We had enough of you, man. And so they killed him. Hung him. But before he left, he had already told the folks what was going to happen. He said, hey, I'm going to rise in 3 days. And they said, yeah, well, we'll see. Yeah, we're going to put some guards outside the tomb. We're going to see. We're going to see. But the one that hung the son, he knew ways in and out that they didn't know. And so when the tomb was rolled away, he wasn't there. But he wasn't in a hurry to leave. They found his napkin, you know, just folded nice and neat. This God that made this world. And I'm telling you, if you trust him and the process, you will rest with him. If that's your desire. See, some folks have still yet not come to the conclusion that they're ready to die. I'm telling you, quit worrying about dying and keep your focus on living. And the dying will take care of itself.